So if you have a very easy life, you get along with little sleep usually, and if you have a stressful life, you need a lot more. And that varies a lot from person to person. That I experienced myself. So first I would recommend that you rest out, really, pay back the sleep that you have, and then see if you feel a lot better, then you're fine, then you know it's just lack of sleep. There can be other factors, which is like lack of B12 or lack of iron, leading to anemia, which makes tired. It can be thyroid dysfunction, so check your thyroid hormones. That's especially frequent in women. Get enough iodine in your food. And like silent infections with virus and bacteria can also lead to something called chronic fatigue syndrome, or exposure to toxic metals like mercury or cadmium or lead can cause chronic fatigue, or to different chemicals. There are a lot of different reasons, and the first step is really check out the sleep thing, and then check out your blood if there's a simple thing to find. And the problem with lack of sleep is you accumulate it more and more. It increases the risk of dementia later on, of depression. It also triggers depressions really, because low energy means you're getting depressed automatically. It's nothing psychological really. When you're out of energy, you feel lethargic at one point.
I was taught sleep is Maya, though, when I joined the Hare Krishna movement. In fact, when I first joined, they wouldn't let us sleep more than 5 hours a day.
And that was probably really a good idea also, because at that age you probably would have done a lot of nonsense if you would be in full vigor and vim. Not you, I'm just telling generally.
I noticed I had to take naps every time I stopped at a stoplight.
Yeah. Well, it's a fact that in your youth your sleep requirement is a lot less, and it really goes up with age. And you can see that it's also there. I mean, also younger people should get enough sleep, especially people in their puberty should get enough sleep. That's extremely important, because otherwise they enter into serious mental and psychological disorders.
What about these great sages we hear about? They're sleeping maybe at 1 hour. Some days they forget to sleep at all, and they're writing these wonderful books.
Yeah. So
how do they do that? And why can't we do that?
That's a good question, but I think the answer is quite obvious. They had a very different life from the beginning on. They didn't have iPhones, computers, cars, and all, they didn't have multitasking. They didn't have all that extremely distracting things. I just explained you multitasking. Our brain cannot multitask. That means each time you switch from one activity to another, you accelerate full speed, then you brake, then you accelerate, you brake. Do that with your car and see how much petrol it consumes. It's incredible. So we consume, just by our overheated, hysterical lifestyle, an incredible amount of our life energy. They didn't have that. They entered into real flow. Or they were really absorbed in writing, or absorbed in chanting, or absorbed in whatever devotional activity they did. That requires very little energy, because they were really in flow. They had their brain patterns, it was all different. So managing a temple is something very different from being absorbed in Krishna's Leelas in terms of energy consumption. That's why Lord Brahma sleeps 12 hours, not 6 hours a day.
12 hours a day?
Yeah, he's resting out the whole night.
And I understand he does some recreation too.
Yeah, he listens to good music.
And dancers?
Yeah, well, you can say it's sense gratification, but I think he probably needs it for chilling out a little bit here.
So should sannyasis generally watch dancers? Or?
No, not really. But they should maybe manage less and focus on real spiritual activities at a certain age, because it's really very strenuous. It just is.
Yeah, I'm definitely experiencing that, that's for sure.
Yeah, I can see it always when you start managing, you really get drained of energy, and otherwise you just fly around. Literally, like Narada Muni.
So there's a time in life for everything.
Yes, and there are differences, it's not all one. And we need to learn to look after our needs. It's not sense gratification to sleep out and be a rested human being, because once you're alert, you can really do incredible things. opposite to the zombie-like state you may walk around otherwise. That, I'm talking for myself, really.